Shalom, children. I am so excited about what we have planned for today. We are having a special celebration to remember an event that happened a long time ago. Does anybody know what we are celebrating? It's a holiday called Purim. Many years ago, the Yehudim had become part of a Persian empire that is a very large kingdom, ruled by a king named Achashverosh. After he became king, Achashverosh decided to throw a big party that lasted 180 days. Whoa, now that is a long party. Then, when that party was over, he threw another 7-day party for the people in the city of Shushan, where he lived. And his wife, Queen Vashti, hosted a party for all the women of the palace. Now Vashti was a very pretty lady, and on the last day of the party, King Achashverosh decided that he wanted to parade her in front of all the princes to show them how beautiful she was. Well, Queen Vashti did not like that idea, so she told his workers that she would not do it. This made the king very angry, and he decided that he did not want her to be the queen anymore. Achashverosh and his servants brought lots of other women into the palace so that a new queen could be chosen. One of those women was called Esther. She was a Yehudi and had been raised by her cousin Mordecai. King Achashverosh liked Esther a lot, so he made her the new queen. However, she did not tell him that she was Yehudi, because Mordecai had warned her not to say anything about it. One day, 2 of Ahasuerus's workers were planning a way to hurt him. When Mordecai found out about it, he told Esther, and Esther told King Ahasuerus. The 2 men were found guilty, and it was written in the king's book that Mordecai had saved him from being harmed by the men that day. Well, after this happened, a man named Haman was given the job of helping King Achashverosh run the kingdom. Haman was a mean man and hated the Yehudim, but he was friends with Achashverosh. So Achashverosh made a rule that everybody had to bow down to Haman when he walked by, and that is what everyone did. Well, everyone except for Mordecai, that is. It made Haman really mad that Mordecai would not bow to him, and he started planning a way to get rid of all the Yehudim. They cast lots, which is kind of like playing the lottery, and decided they would get rid of the Yehudim in the month of Adar. Haman then went to King Achashverosh and told him that the Yehudim had laws that were different from the king's laws. He said they should get rid of all the Yehudim in the kingdom. So Achashverosh wrote a decree, that is like a law, that Haman could see to it that this would be done. Yikes, he must not have even suspected that his queen, Esther, was a Yehudi. Otherwise, I don't think he would have given Haman permission to get rid of them. Well, Haman sent letters to all the different parts of the kingdom, saying that on the 13th day of the 12th new moon, the month of Adar, all the Yehudim should be destroyed. Do you think Esther and Mordecai were sad and afraid when they found out about this? Let's keep reading and find out. When Mordecai found out about the new law that Haman and Achashverosh had made, he tore his clothes and dressed himself in sackcloth and ashes. This is what people used to do when they were very upset about something. Many other Yehudim did the same thing, and they cried and fasted and prayed for help. Esther did not understand why Mordecai was so upset, so he sent her a copy of the new law that said all the Yehudim would be destroyed. He also told her to go talk to the king and ask him to spare their people. Now Esther knew that no one was allowed to go talk to the king unless he had called for them. And she told this to Mordecai. But Mordecai told her that if she would not talk to Achashverosh, then someone else would be used to save the Yehudim, and she would perish. So Esther said that she would go talk to him. But first, she wanted all the Yehudim to fast and pray with her for 3 days and nights. So they all fasted, which means that they did not eat food for a while, and spent a lot of time praying. And then Esther got dressed in her fancy clothing and went to talk to King Ahasuerus. When Esther approached him, he held out his golden scepter. That meant that he would allow Esther to talk to him, and she would not be punished for coming in without an invitation. Phew! I'm sure glad he was willing to listen to what she had to say. Esther told Ahasuerus that she wanted to invite him and Haman to a feast that she prepared. Yum! I wonder what she'd cooked for them. I'm sure it was delicious. While they were all eating at the feast, Ahasuerus asked Esther what her request or petition was. Well, Esther was really trying to get on his good side, so she said that she wanted to prepare another feast for them the next day. This made Haman pretty happy, but then as he was leaving the feast, he saw Mordecai. Remember, he didn't like Mordecai because he would not bow to him or honor him. So Haman and his family made plans to kill Mordecai and decided they would tell the king about their plans the next day. That night, King Ahasuerus had a hard time sleeping, so he had someone come and read to him out of the book where all the palace events were recorded. They read that Mordecai had warned Ahasuerus about the men who wanted to hurt him. However, Mordecai had not been rewarded for saving the king's life. Well, right at that moment, Haman came into the room. The king asked Haman what he should do for the man that he wanted to honor. Silly Haman thought the king wanted to honor him. So he said that the special person should get to wear a royal robe and ride on a royal horse, and he should be paraded around the city while it was announced to everyone that this is the man whom the king wishes to honor. Now we know that the king really wanted to do this for Mordecai and not Haman. Haman was a little shocked when he found out that he would have to honor Mordecai, not the other way around. But the king had ordered it, so Haman had to do it. Afterwards, he went home and told his wife how upset he was. His wife could see that things were not going well for him. Well, it was time for the second feast that Esther had prepared. So Ahasuerus and Haman went to the feast, and Ahasuerus asked Esther again what her request or petition was. Esther told him that her request was that she wanted her life and her people's lives to be spared. The king wanted to know who it was that dared to hurt her and her people. She told him that it was Haman's evil plan to get rid of the Yehudim, and that she was Yehudi too. Well, when the king realized what was going to happen to his queen, he got very angry at Haman and ordered that Haman be hanged on the structure that had originally been built to kill Mordecai. King Ahasuerus then put Mordecai over the things that Haman used to be in charge of. Esther asked the king if he could reverse the law that said they were going to get rid of the Yehudim. Well, the rule was that once a law had been written in the king's name, it could not be reversed. But the king told Mordecai that he could write a new law. He wrote a law saying that the Yehudim would be allowed to defend themselves from anyone who wanted to hurt them. And he sent a copy of the law to everyone in the kingdom. All the Yehudim were so happy to hear that news. The day arrived when people were allowed to attack the Yehudim, but the Yehudim were allowed to fight back. Well, it turned out that many people were afraid of them now, so they just left them alone. That's so cool. People didn't even want to hurt them anymore. There were still some people who didn't like them though, so the Yehudim fought those people and got rid of them. The Yehudim decided that they would make the 14th and 15th days of the month of Adar a special celebration, so they would always remember how their people had been saved. They would call it Purim, because Pur is a word that means lot, And that is how Haman had picked a day to try to destroy the Yehudim, by casting lots. On those days, they would have feasts and give gifts to each other, and that is how we still celebrate the holiday of Purim today. Well, boys and girls, we have come to the end of our story. Can you say Chag Sameach with me to wish each other a happy feast? Chag Sameach.